This is a major blow for Donald Trump as the Senate has just passed the War Powers Resolution, saying that if you want to continue any kind of strikes deep into Iran, you now need permission from Congress. This happened only 15 minutes ago as the Senate voted 50 to 48 to pass this resolution. It comes as Donald Trump is currently working on a deal with Iran in a war that's now, 119 days in. And so far with this deal, Iran is allowing the IAEA, those are the nuclear inspectors, to come back into their facilities in order to make sure that they will not have a nuclear weapon and or enrich uranium. This was a part of a deal that was originally introduced back in 2015 and canceled under President Trump in 2018. The war powers measure is mostly just symbolic. It doesn't go to the president's desk for him to either sign or veto, but it does showcase that in the Republican Party, there are people not happy with him. This is a bipartisanship thing. A lot of people don't want this war to continue.
President Donald Trump has continued to defend a hardline stance toward Iran, arguing that military pressure is necessary to protect U.S. interests and deter further threats. At the same time, a growing number of lawmakers in the Senate have pushed back, insisting that any prolonged military action requires congressional authorization. The debate has become a broader test of presidential war powers and Congress's constitutional role in deciding when the United States enters or continues a conflict. And now let's have a look at what President Donald Trump has been saying quite recently, and other clips also that are speaking of the same.
As you know, we just achieved a historic peace agreement with Iran to end the conflict in the Strait of Hormuz. This wasn't easy. We had 47 years worth of presidents and other people, other countries too. We're not the only one that never did anything. They were the bully of the Middle East. And now we're leaving Iran with no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-aircraft, no missile capability, no nuclear program. We're leaving them without any nuclear capacity, and they've agreed to that. And we're getting along quite well, although if you read the fake news, you never know. Think of it. We can fly over Tehran just at will. Nobody going to do anything to us. And then I read the fake news that they're doing quite well. They're not doing quite well. The Iran economy has been crushed, and their defense industrial base has been damaged so severely that it'll take them many years to rebuild, many, many years. And now we're trying to work out a deal that's fair. The only thing they understand is what these guys in the front row understand is the hammer. If you look at what we did to their nuclear capacity with those beautiful B-2 bombers, that was truly a hammer. In fact, we named it a hammer. Operation Hammer.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah.
I heard the Senate just voted to limit Trump's Iran war powers. Does that mean the war is over?
Unfortunately not, no. The Trump administration has already lost control of both the war and the ability to end it. So even if this vote wasn't largely symbolic, it's too late for it to matter.
You think we've lost the ability to end the war?
Oh yeah. Half the reason that all of these ceasefires in Trump's most recent deal keeps failing is that Iran has not agreed to any deals that don't also protect Hezbollah in Lebanon. And Israel, which has not been part of the negotiations, keeps attacking Hezbollah despite continued assurances from the Trump administration that they won't. Hezbollah has also not agreed to anything, so we're basically in a situation where ending the war is contingent on two parties that are not part of the negotiations and have consistently ignored previous attempts to end the conflict. And if anything, Israel wants to escalate even further, with their far-right national security minister Ben-Gvir recently calling for all of Lebanon to burn. So, short of cutting off funding for Israel, which the Trump administration has certainly shown no willingness to do, I don't see any way for Republicans to get out of this on their own, resolution or not.
But isn't it still good that some Republicans voted against Trump?
Well, there were only 4 of them, despite a lot of media headlines making it seem like there was some big revolt. And even then, the resolution only passed because 2 other Republicans were absent, including Mitch McConnell, who is in the hospital. And while 4 is better than 0, I see their votes largely as an attempt to appear more moderate or useful to their bases before midterms, with the exception of Rand Paul, who has consistently voted against the war. Not to mention that all of these votes are happening way too late for them to actually mean anything. The time to vote to limit Trump's war powers would have been back in March or even April, not now that all the damage has been done and the hostilities are already mostly over.
I guess Trump would just veto the resolutions anyways, though, right?
Actually not, although that's not necessarily a good thing. What Congress just passed is called a concurrent resolution, which is basically the congressional equivalent of a strongly worded letter. It doesn't require the president's signature, so he can't veto it, but it also doesn't carry the force of law, so the White House can basically ignore it. And even if it did carry the force of law, which it doesn't, and even if Congress had a veto-proof majority, which they don't, the War Powers Resolution has been considered to be unconstitutional by the executive branch even before Trump. And while there hasn't really been a reason for the executive to challenge it in court before, the Trump administration has already threatened to do so if push comes to shove. And I think we all know how the current Supreme Court would vote when it reaches them.
In the history of the US, no president in active war has ever been asked to stop it. But it happened to Donald Trump yesterday. In the history of the US citizens have never come out to speak with one voice to say, this war you embarked on, you're on your own. Stop it. It has never happened. So history was made yesterday by the US citizens. That was when, the Senate came out yesterday to pass the War Powers Resolution against Donald Trump. They practically asked him to stop the war. This is not good for the US. This is not to the interest of the US. Stop it. Now, if you have not forgotten, about a month ago, the House of Reps sat down as well. It started with them. It was 215 against 208. Yes, we had some Republicans who crossed over to support the Democrats. And then yesterday, it was now 50 against 48, with 4 Republicans crossing over to support the Democrats again. And now it is documented. History has been made that Donald Trump has been asked to stop the war. That is, we don't want this war to continue. It is not helping us. It is not good for us. However, I'm still wondering why the Republicans in Nigeria could not cross over to help with the vote. Yeah. You guys should have traveled to the US yesterday to help pass the vote. Vote so that he can continue with the fight. Let him continue to attack the victory line. See, these are the people who are feeling the brunt. These are the people who are in the midst of it. They're the ones who are saying, this war is not good for us. We don't need it. But you sit here in Nigeria or in Africa, wherever you are, with your religious mindset, and you are saying, hey, they should go on and fight. It's the right thing they're doing. Do you understand? But then that doesn't mean that Trump will stop. Yes. He is not obligated to stop that war, because as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, his duty is to protect America from any threat. So he can argue on that ground that he was just trying to protect Americans because he has been given that constitutional power to do just that. However, he is now alone, and that is not good for him. Donald Trump is now alone in this fight. See, you can never love Americans more than the Americans. You can never know what is going on in America more than the Americans. If they say this war is not good for them, it is not good for them. Put sentiment aside. Put religion aside. Be objective for once. Be objective. You can never love America more than the Americans. The same way he started with the problem land, and then he started with the support of most of the, Americans. Today he's alone. So let's see, because this will affect the 60-day window. Whatever you are negotiating on your own. That is what it means. He can go on, and if they choose to stop funding, he will have no choice than to stop. They can choose to stop funding that war. That's the only way they can force him to stop. Okay, we're not asking you not to continue, but go on if you have the money. Because somebody will asking me, is there no other way they can stop him if they want to? But it will come as you trying to sabotage the entire US if a president is actively involved in war with your own troops and then you refuse to fund him. So that is almost impossible. They have to fund him. But then he is acting alone right now.
So, President Donald Trump has argued that the United States must maintain pressure on Iran and has defended military actions taken during the conflict, saying they were necessary for US security and regional stability. He has criticized congressional efforts to limit his authority, calling a recent Senate vote meaningless and poorly timed. What do you think about today's video? Please leave a comment, share your thoughts, like, share, subscribe, and I look forward to your support. We'll see you in the next video.